SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL is expected to announce season-long suspensions this week for a handful of players, including Colts cornerback and kick returner Isaiah Rodgers for violating the league's policy on gambling, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Start of NBA free agency just 2 days away. Lakers' plans addressed by GM Rob Pelinka. They're going to try to keep their core together, also improve around the edges and on the margins to try and pursue another NBA title. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
You have LeBron James there. I know he's aging, but you still have Anthony Davis that is in his prime. You don't break up that core group that made a great run the second part of the season to get into the postseason, to get to the Western Conference Finals, and break it up and say, I'm going to go get another superstar, and all of a sudden you rebuild it.
Spurs' number 1 overall pick, Victor Wembanyama, will join the team in Vegas for NBA Summer League. Will open up against the Hornets and number 2 overall pick Brandon Miller on July 7th. Tennessee State becomes the first HBCU to introduce ice hockey. Will start play as a club program in 2024.
Coming up Thursday, is Shohei Ohtani better at baseball than Patrick Mahomes is at football? Keyshawn J. Willimax, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right. And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Calandro Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a ton to do today. A little back to normal. Of course, Monday was all previewing the Natty, and then yesterday was celebrating the Natty, and today we are still going to do a lot of that. As a matter of fact, Alex Milazzo is going to be with us in about 12 minutes from right now, but we are going to get back on track a little. LSU football has a couple of decommitments over the weekend that I want to get to and talk about the significance there. Juwan Johnson lauding Derek Carr. We're going to get to all of that. So we're glad you're hanging out with us here. And we got a ton to do over the next 3 hours. So let's get it moving.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So, of course, LSU will celebrate its national championship tonight. The national championship celebration at 7:30 for the Tigers. Out at Alec Box Stadium, Skip Bertman Field. By now, I think most of you know the details. It's open to the public. They will have concessions for sale. And there will be speakers, and they will unveil the new Intimidator, and everyone will cheer, and there will be joy, and there will be glee, and there will be glory, and then everyone will leave Alec Box and go, all right, so we're going to do it again next year, right? And that is going to be the really sincere challenge for Jay Johnson and this staff. For whatever it's worth, the Major League Baseball draft is coming up next month in July. And so we're, for very obvious reasons, going to be keeping a keen eye on the Major League draft and what everyone is thinking as far as the Major League draft, because we all know and expect that at the top of this draft, we're going to see both Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz in whatever order. The latest mock draft that I saw, and there's so many good baseball writers out there, from Kylie McDaniel of ESPN, who actually is going to be with us on Friday, to Keith Law and so many others if I start naming them. Matt Snyder is a baseball writer for CBS Sports, and he looked at a recent mock draft today for the draft, which is coming up in July. And he's got at the top of the draft, he actually has Dylan Cruz going number 1 overall. There's been a lot of push and maybe a little bit of a shift toward Paul Skeens because of really the job Skeens did in Omaha and being on full display. So a lot of people saw Paul Skeens for the first time. And I'll reiterate this, that for all of us, we watched Paul Skeens throughout the year. We saw Paul Skeens throw against Butler, and we saw him throw against Western Michigan, and we saw him throw against Tennessee, and in the we saw him. But I mean, you all saw the television numbers that ESPN put out, that LSU has put out as well. I mean, this College World Series for LSU was absolutely stunning when you look at the television viewership numbers. More than 4 million people watched the national championship game, that final between LSU and Florida. When you look at the Thursday game against Wake Forest, north of 2 million people watched that. So many people watched LSU and saw Paul Skeens for the first time in this College World Series. And I'm not here to tell you that that scouts saw Paul Skeens for the first time. Obviously, they were well aware. I'm just talking about the national consciousness. Yeah, here it is. Game 3 of the finals averaged 3.586 million viewers. The peak viewership was 4.2 million. That is the most watched College World Series game on an ESPN platform on record. Of course, CBS used to have the championship game before ESPN got the rights and started airing the championship game in this finals series. But 3.5 million viewers is the most ever for a College World Series game. LSU won at 18-4, and they spent the large part of a blowout talking about Paul Skeens, looking at a camera of Paul Skeens getting loose. Because the game was such a blowout, they put a towel over the camera, and so then it's like, oh, there's Paul Skeens with a backpack going toward the bullpen. There's Paul Skeens with doing band workouts. There's Paul Skeens starting to throw. Here's Paul Skeens because it's a bajillion to 2, just hugging his teammates in the dugout. A lot of people got to know of Paul Skeens for the first time, but nonetheless, if you stick to a hard and fast draft rule, you take the position player over the pitcher. Pitchers are much more high risk. They're more susceptible to injury. They only pitch once every 5 days. The elite position player is going to play every day. So CBS has Dylan Cruz going number 1 overall to Pittsburgh, and then Paul Skeens going number 2 to the Nationals. One thing that I will tell you definitively, Paul Skeens is not getting past 2, because I do have friends that work with the Nationals that have said, candidly, they're actually hoping Skeens falls to 2 because they want to take him there. They think he's part of their rotation next year. And I've been hearing this since February, that they think Paul Skeens is MLB ready. He'll be in the rotation next year. They can get 5 years out of him, 5 years service time out of him in the show, and then decide what they're going to do, let someone else pay him, whatever the case may be. And then Wyatt Langford, number 3 to Detroit. One thing that I do that I have been hearing is watch out for Langford potentially at number 1 overall. And before you hem and haw and scuffle, I just want to point something out. Remember, the MLB draft is very different from every other draft. Every team has a draft pool. They have their slot pool, and this is the total sum of money that a team can spend on its first 10-round picks. And yes, there are slot values for all those picks, but there are times when teams will sign players over slot, and they will sign players under slot. And Pittsburgh is a notoriously cheap team, and their slot value for the number 1 overall pick is, forgive me, that was their entire pool. Here you go. The slot value for the number 1 overall pick from Pittsburgh is $9.7 million. The number 2 pick is $8.99 million. The number 3 pick is $8.3 million, then 7.6, 7.1, 6.6, and so on. My point is, some of what is being discussed, like the scuttle around the game is, Pittsburgh may not want to pay Dylan Cruz $9.7 million. So they may call Wyatt Langford and say, hey, would you take 8 to be the number 1 pick? And if he says yes, they may take Wyatt Langford. If they don't see a drastically discernible difference between the two players. You and I may think that's dumb. They can make the decision however they want, but that is something that's at least being discussed or considered. If Dylan Cruz and his representation stay hard and fast to the number that they want, do you see maybe Langford or Skeens go number one if they're willing to take less. Just something to file away and think about, because these are the types of things that happen as agents and scouts and front office personnel get involved in all this discussion. But we're going to be watching the top of the draft. But more importantly, after those first 2 picks for LSU, we're going to see not only what happens with the freshman class, but with the juniors and the draft-eligible sophomores. Because that is where, as we start to look at how Jay Johnson is going to remake this roster, the thing that we know is Jack Merrifield, Gavin Dugas, Cade Beloso, they're all out of eligibility. And you got a whole bunch of juniors on this roster as well that we know the ones that are going to be gone. Dylan's gone. Jordan Thompson's gone. Ty Floyd, Trey Morgan. Of course, Paul Skeens is gone. You got guys like Blake Money and Christian Little who will probably sign now as juniors instead of coming back for their senior year where they might have another limited role. You take what you can get now while you still have leverage and you start your pro career. And you got a draft-eligible sophomore that we've talked about a ton already Grant Taylor, who we know had Tommy John and has an interesting decision to make. It could come back and sort of bet on himself and try to be a first-round pick if he has a great year next year, or could sign now. He's got those decisions are going to be made in the draft, and that's going to be what's really interesting to follow, to see which of those juniors will come back for a senior year to help LSU defend this title. And that's what Jay Johnson doesn't know the answer to, and that's how he's going to have to start to rebuild, not only through the freshman class, but certainly through the transfer portal as well. And I venture a guess that for Jay Johnson, that began probably minutes after he left Charles Schwab Field on Monday. All right, it is After Further Review. We are glad to have you aboard with us here. Our Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. We got a ton of baseball to talk about. As a matter of fact, LSU catcher Alex Milazzo is going to join us when we come back after the break. And I'm excited to talk to Alex. Of course, we all know his story from Zachary. He's battled injuries throughout his career, missed all of last season, came back this year, was part of a platoon at catcher, just had a fantastic run there in Omaha, and then unfortunately was injured in the championship game. So we'll get a checkup on him and see how he's doing right now, and we'll catch up with Alex Milazzo when we come back here. Glad to have you aboard with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James Home. It's where your story begins. Darren James can help you start that journey. Call Darren James. I'm going to give you a cell phone number, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com, agent225.com. Go to the website. It's the most user-friendly website in real estate. And I want you to use this website because part of what that's going to do is help you curate your feed. And not only that, but remember, you can go to big national websites. The problem is you may go to and try to get your estimate of what your home may be worth or see home values. The problem is those big national websites aren't going to take into account local factors like, is the home next to a plant? Have you done updates to your home? That's the nuance that you're going to get with Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
One of the images that will last on forever of LSU's championship win on Monday night over Florida is Paul Skeens hoisting Alex Milazzo on his back, carrying him out to the dog pile. And Alex Milazzo, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, man, congrats on the championship. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you, man?
I'm doing really well. Let me ask a very literal question first. Like, how are you with the injury that we all saw?
Yeah, been in some pain lately, but the national championship helped it out a lot. But as soon as I got back, we got a great team at LSU, and they got me fixed up. So we got X-rays, MRIs, and I didn't really listen much after they said just no surgery. But it's they got like a little break it whatever in the shin area. So, but I'm doing good, man.
Nothing a national championship and a little Loratab can't help, right?
That's right. That little weight on that left hand's gonna fix it.
I understand that, man. That'll come soon enough when that bling comes through. I want to talk about the game and the season and all this stuff. But can I just ask one more? Like, what happened on the play? I mean, you're rounding third. We all saw, but what from your perspective, what happened there?
Yeah, it was. It's kind of a freak play, man. Like, just playing the game hard, and as soon as the throw was kind of coming in, I went to avoid the catcher, and I had my left foot planted, and as I went to go to my left with my left foot planted, and the ankle went down, and I as soon as I went to, I guess, jump off the left foot, I felt it crack, and I heard it crack, and yeah, as soon as I put weight on the left foot, I knew something was wrong. But yeah, it was just, I guess, a freak play.
Hey, man, were you stunned that Josh Jordan sent you?
No, I was running, I was going. I thought the ball got in the gap. I didn't know it was a single, but I guess that speed helped a little bit.
Oh, man, Alex Milazzo is our guest here. Tigers are the national champions. Hey, man, for you, and we're glad you're all right, man. Honestly, I hate to say it this way, but I'm glad it was a break and not a knee.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It could have been. It definitely could have been a lot worse. But man, it's been pretty awesome, the support I've gotten from all our fans and the university and everybody checking on me. It means a lot too.
That's really cool. Especially, I would imagine for a local guy too, right? I mean, we've talked to Ronnie rants about you over the years when you were with his Marucci White Sox, and so we've all seen you at LSU now for 4 years. But you and Cade and Gavin, like the local guys, the Louisiana guys, we talk so much about what that core means. Being a guy who grew up 15 minutes from LSU's campus, like to be able to be there on the field for the last out in Omaha, man, what was that like for you?
Yeah, man, that's that's everything to me. I grew up going to super regional games, midweek games at Alex Box, football games as a kid, man, and it was kind of like this. I don't even know how to put it. Almost like something like you couldn't see yourself doing because it's almost bigger than life, And for us to be able to do that with this core group, man, and this team, it's what every Louisiana kid dreams of and works towards. I mean, I know for me, my family, it means everything to us, and this is everything a Louisiana kid could ever want.
You all, this 2023 team, it's immortalized now. I mean, you're in the conversation, the pantheon with the other great ones. And to get to this point this year for you personally, though, it was a platoon, right? I mean, you had such a talented young freshman class of catchers coming in. Hayden was back. You're back off of injury. For you accepting a role where this was a platoon, what was as a fourth-year guy, what was this season like for you, having so many different roles throughout the year?
Yeah, man, it's we talk about it a lot. It's putting the needs of the team above your own. And we had so many guys. It's such a talented roster, and you can only play 9 guys at a time. So for me, it was just showing up every day, ready to play. And when my number was called, I'm ready to go in. And I think you look at the starting lineup for the last game, the national championship game. I think 6 of us weren't in the opening day lineup.
Yep.
There's something to be said about that, and I think that just speaks volumes to this team and how selfless each guy on this team was. And I think if you ask any national championship team, one thing they would talk about is how tight that group of guys was. And we saw it on this team throughout the fall, early spring, throughout the season, and you just knew this team was going to do something special.
So I'm so glad you said that because you teed up my next one. The audience has heard me say this a bunch, but I had a conversation with Jay early before the season started, and he said one of the things that was going to be fascinating about this team was how the veteran players adjusted to maybe taking a lesser role than they had in the past because of so much young talent and transfer talent coming in. And this team never really had a problem with that. If it was you and Hayden and Cade and Gavin, Braden, there was examples are at literally every position. So when did you recognize, I'm sure you agree with his statement there, but when did you recognize that to be true with this whole roster?
Yeah, I think when the roster gets put together, honestly, I think there's a lot that goes into what Coach Johnson did putting this roster together, and it's all about getting the right guys in that locker room, and that's exactly what he did. So hat tip to him, man. He got all the right guys in that locker room, and he does an exceptional job at building that team cohesiveness. And you also had great leadership in that locker room, man. You had a lot of guys that it's our 3rd, 4th, 5th year here. We've been playing together for so long, and when you add in those special pieces like Paul Skeen, Tommy White, coming in like that, and Thatcher Hurd, I could go up and down the roster, but when you bring in the right guys, it's I don't want to say it's very easy to do because this is a very special team, but it was definitely pretty easy to do when you had those guys in the locker room.
I got a couple more for you, man. I could talk to you forever, but one of the plays that will define this season is the Trey Morgan flip and your swipe tag against Wake Forest in that 8th inning. Walk me through that play.
Yeah. Well, that stuff, another hat tip to our coaching staff, man. We were so prepared for that play, and we knew that at some point in time, Coach had always told us at some point in time we're going to use this play, and it just so happened we used it on the biggest stage in college baseball, one of the biggest games we played this year, and we were ready for it. I can't tell you how many times we've practiced that dang play, and we would practice it until it was perfect.
How many times did you get it right in practice?
Well, the first couple times, you got to learn the play, and then man, I would be willing to say we probably did it 20 times over every other day in practice, or whenever we worked on bunt defense, man. We did it so many times.
That's what a testament to having to put it into play right there on the biggest stage.
Yeah, Trey, not many first basemen make that play. That just goes to show you how special a first baseman Trey Morgan is.
This team was full of some incredible players. There's no doubt about it. Did you all have any doubt creep into your mind in game 2, after game 2?
Oh, not at all, man. Not at all. A big thing for us was Coach always preached we're taking this thing as a 56-game playoff throughout the regular season. And I really think when you approach games like that when you're taking things as a 56-game playoff throughout the season, it's when you get in those high-impact games or, really emotional games, it just kind of becomes easy for us as players. And it's just another game to us. But, I mean, this team could have very easily rolled over and said, yeah, we're done. We just got the crap beat out of us. Florida put up some runs, and we definitely took a beat in that game. But this team, as soon as our heads hit the pillow, we were over it. We didn't even talk about the game. We're just ready for the next one. And going into that last game, the message was in the locker room right after that second game, the message was, hey, if I told you at the beginning of the season with this group of guys we have available on the mound, you get one game, just one game against whoever, and that game's going to define the rest of the season, would you take it? And I think everybody in that locker room shook their head.
No doubt, and it went your way. Before you go, Alex Milazzo, our guest here, and we appreciate your time, man. I know y'all are going to have the championship celebration tonight. I got to ask you, man, you just finished year 4. You're a draft-eligible guy. Have you given thought to your future yet?
To be honest with you, man, I haven't even given it thought yet. I've been trying to enjoy this moment as much as possible and just spending time with these guys before everybody goes back home and does their own thing. I've just been trying to enjoy this moment, but whatever happens, whether it's draft, coming back to LSU, it's a win-win for me.
Alex Milazzo, national champion. Has a nice ring to it, man. Congrats again. Heal up quickly. Everybody's pulling for you, and have a great time at the celebration tonight, man. We appreciate a couple of minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And go Tigers.
It's our pleasure. That is Alex Milazzo. This is After Further Review. We're presented by Pluckers, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. Love telling you about South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highlander, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com for South Point Volkswagen. To our friends, of course, in Lafayette. Remember Southwest Volkswagen, for those that missed it earlier this week. We launched on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. So we're now live in Southwest Louisiana. So our friends in Southwest Louisiana, you can go visit Southwest Volkswagen there in Lafayette. But new inventory arriving on the regular over at South Point Volkswagen, and more on the way. They actually have vehicles in transit. So if you want to look at the vehicles they have in transit right now to the dealership, you can go to the homepage at southpointvw.com. There's a 2023 Volkswagen Atlas SC. Multiple of them. The SER line in black is there as well. Check it out right now at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Taylor Calandro will be with us in about 15 minutes. Do a little Bourbon Dictionary. At the top of next hour, so 30 minutes from right now, Saints tight end Juwan Johnson was on Sirius XM radio and had some interesting comments about his quarterback, Derek Carr, that I want to get to after the top of the hour. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a hump day edition of AFR. Counting you down to a championship celebration tonight at the Box. Stick around. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
And, of course, our hump day shows all throughout the year are brought to you by Pluckers. Nicholson and Bluebonnet dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV, and tonight and every Wednesday, it's trivia. So maybe you're getting to the championship celebration tonight out at the Box. Great idea. Just go have dinner at Pluckers. Championship celebrations at 7:30, so go to Pluckers on Nicholson. It's just south of the Box. So go have a bite to eat there, maybe have a cold beer, and then go over to Alec Box Stadium for the championship celebration. Or when you leave the box, you can go eat over at Pluckers and hang out and play some trivia. Trivia fires up at 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. So test your knowledge, win Pluckers gift cards, eat wings, drink beer, make a night of it. That's at Pluckers. Voted a top 10 wing restaurant in America, top 5 sports bar by USA Today. It's at Pluckers. 2 locations. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Y'all, there is a fight a-brewing. On Tuesday, the NCAA sent a letter to all of its member institutions with updated guidelines for NIL. And the crux of it is, if a state law contradicts NCAA policy with relation to NIL, the NCAA says, I don't care what your state law says, we will punish you if you don't do this. And this is going to be a massive fight. And in particular, several states have passed laws that would allow fundraising groups. So I'm not saying this is happening in Louisiana. I'm just saying, for example, like TAF or the LSU Foundation, to start paying their athletes through those things. So benefactors could get write-offs as part of a charitable write-off. Essentially, like, so in Texas, they specifically, the Longhorn Foundation and the 12th Man Foundation, which support the athletic departments, basically they're now raising money. The state law is allowing them to raise money for NIL deals. And similar laws have passed in Arkansas and Oklahoma but haven't gone into effect yet. The NCAA says, you do that, you're in violation of NCAA rules. Ross Bjork, the Texas A&M athletic director, said to ESPN, and I quote, "The state law is going to govern how we do business. We will continue to communicate with the NCAA on a variety of matters, but in terms of this, the state law will reign." Basically, Texas A&M's AD is flipping the bird to the NCAA saying, I don't care what y'all say, we're doing this. Because he knows that's what their boosters want. If I'm going to give you $100,000, I want a tax write-off. That's what this is for. And also, the NCAA is saying you also cannot give priority points or benefits to your boosters for supporting NIL. So, for example, like, I'm, again, just going to use LSU because we're familiar with it. So LSU has TAF. Well, TAF has priority points based on ticket prices and your seat license and tradition fund and all that sort of stuff. When you give, you get points and priority. You get it. Basically, what some of these states are doing is saying you give to these foundations, you can get points for giving to NIL. And the NCAA is saying, oh, no, you can't. And so a guy like Ross Bjork, the A&M AD, is going, yeah, we are. Well, the NCAA is saying, if you do, we're going to punish you. So you have a legal fight coming. This is going to go to court. And it is going to be fascinating to see what happens as a result of this, because it will shape NIL. By the way, I think Louisiana is doing a very smart thing, surprisingly. Instead of being proactive, they're being reactive to say, we're not going to, blaze the trail. We're going to let Daniel Boone go and cut back all the brush and everything, and then we're just going to walk down the path. So that's actually a smart way of going about doing this. Was Daniel Boone a trailblazer? Who was the guy that, John Smith, or that was Pocahontas, wasn't it? Who was the guy that explored westward?
I have no idea.
Let's go with the Chris Farley movie. Chris Farley and Matthew Broderick. Y'all know which movie I'm talking about. It's actually The Hunt drop. Hunt. You're scaring the men. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, regardless, let someone else blaze the trail. Let someone else get bitten by snakes and fall off of cliffs and everything like that. And once the trail is blazed, then you just go walk it. That's what Louisiana is doing right now, which is a smart thing to do. But remember, this is going to be really interesting to watch because this is something that states want to do. It's something boosters want. It's something athletic departments want. And the NCAA saying, no, you can't. It's akin to, there are no doubt places where, look, drinking alcohol at work isn't illegal. Like if I wanted to drink this Bud Light right here, that's not illegal. If my company says, if you drink that on the job, you're fired. That's not a rule here, but I'm saying if it were, that's not illegal, but it's against the rules of my employer. So the NCAA is essentially saying that, it's not illegal. It's not illegal to pay a student athlete, but it's against NCAA rule. So how does all this get reconciled is going to be fascinating to watch as it moves forward. So file that one away. The Texas state law goes into effect next week. So the reaction to that and what does happen, what the NCAA does as a result, will be interesting because the NCAA is telling you do, by the way, I know it's coming, but if you do this, you're in violation of NCAA rule. And these schools are going, we don't care. State law says we can do it. Okay. We'll follow it. All right, it's after further review. We'll talk some booze with Taylor Calandro in about 7 minutes from right now. Bourbon Dictionary. You can get your questions in. Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call Dr. Blake Williamson over at the Williamson Eye Center. Set up that free consultation. Call 924-2020. 924-2020 or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. Excellence in eye care for 75 years. That's the Williamson Eye Center. Again, 924-2020. That's where you can find the Williamson Eye Center. I just strongly encourage you. If you need your eye exam, they can help you. If you wear contacts or glasses, you want to buy your contacts or glasses, they can help you. And if you're thinking about a refractive procedure to be done with contacts and glasses forever like I did 5 years ago, there's nobody better than the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson, if you're watching, that's him right there in the middle. Right there. I just zoomed in. There he is, right there. He literally goes all over the world lecturing on ophthalmology. He has brought so many advancements to ophthalmology to our state. He is a trailblazer as well, and he's incredible. The Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solution. The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Tragic story involving former Arkansas quarterback Ryan Mallett. If you haven't heard yet, he died Tuesday at the age of 35 in an apparent drowning in Destin, Florida at the beach. A group of people were swimming in the Gulf near a sandbar. They were struggling to make their way back. One of them was Mallett. When responders pulled him from the water, he was not breathing, transported him to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Mallett, of course, was a star in 2010 where he finished 7th in the Heisman Trophy voting. He was selected by the Patriots in the 3rd round of the 2011 draft. He appeared in 21 NFL games and was presently a high school football coach. Ryan Mallett dead at the age of 35.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn's looking for a new pitching coach. Darren Schoenrock has stepped down from his position. He just wrapped up his first season on the Plains. He had previously been the head coach of Memphis over the past 18 seasons. Schoenrock replaced Tim Hudson, who had been a volunteer assistant for the program.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Cannon Peebles, fresh off his freshman year at NC State, has committed to play for the Volunteers. Switch hitter, started 30 games for the Wolfpack this past season, hit .352 with a dozen homers. Tennessee was pretty weak at catcher this year. Cal Stark hit just .180 on the season.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Right-handed pitcher Connor Spencer is on the move. Spent this year at Southeastern, which was his 4th school in as many years. Made 14 appearances for the Lions. Spencer currently the 5th Ole Miss transfer acquisition this offseason.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
On Wednesday, former Indiana pitcher Craig Yoho announced he's transferring to Arkansas. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Craig Yoho. Yoho! That's his name. Back off. Back off. Back off. It's the man's name. Craig Yoho appeared in 18 games for Indiana out of the bullpen. 3.41 ERA with 61 strikeouts. Missed the last 2 seasons. Missed all of 21 with Tommy with a knee injury, all of 22 with Tommy John before playing this past year. That's Craig Yoho.
Texas A&M!
I bet Craig Yoho's never heard that one before. Yoho. It's his name. Texas A&M. Gotten 5 commits in the last 6 days. Shreveport edge rusher Gabriel Relaford. Chose the Aggies over Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Also had offers from Arizona State, Baylor, Kansas State. He's a 3-star, the number 61 edge rusher in the country. A dozen commits now for the Aggies. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. By the way, my buddy Trey Beal, this is awesome for y'all, especially if you have kids. Trey texted me, and Gulf Coast Office Products they've been a great community partner for so many years. And Trey was at a charity event, and I wanted to give a shout out to the charity where he got this. Anyway, it was they won it was for Brock. It was for Brock Rock and Wine for Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, great partners of ours as well. So he won a 1-week traction baseball camp gift card, and he said, Matt, Trey has children that are grown. He's like, give this away on your show to somebody. So I want to give this away. If you have a son that plays baseball and you want a traction baseball camp, it's good for a full week of traction baseball. It's a $325 value. You can win it. I tell you what, just text me hashtag traction, and we'll give it away on Friday when Terrio's here. Just text hashtag traction to 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We'll randomize it. We'll pick a winner on Friday when Terrio's here, courtesy of Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it's After Further Review. Bourbon Dictionary, Taylor Calandro next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know, where with every inspection, you'll always get a free Hudco hat. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Y'all, last week, we had a 25-year hailstorm in the greater Baton Rouge area. If your home was affected by that hailstorm or might have been, give us a shout. We'd love to give you a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Y'all, the door knockers are out there. The out-of-town companies are out there. The startup roofing companies are out there. The question you have to ask yourself is, in a contractor, who do you trust and who's going to be here if you have an issue? Hudco Roofing's been in Louisiana for more than 20 years. Started in Bossier, statewide now. Go to the website. There's a phone number for every area code in this state. If you're interested, you can always go to hudcoroofing.com, hudcoroofing.com. You get the phone numbers for all of the area codes wherever you are in the state of Louisiana. Fill out the inspection form on the homepage. Hudco Roofing and hudcoroofing.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
Wrapping up hour number one here on After Further Review, presented by Pluckers. Taylor Calandro joins us now. How are you, dude? How are you, dude? Ooh, why don't we have...
literally just lost him.
Oh, he dropped. Yeah. Okay. I was like, where is Taylor? All right, so Taylor, by the way, for a little context, left Baton Rouge at 2 a.m. on Saturday. Left Baton Rouge at 2 a.m. to get to the airport, to fly, I believe, to Kansas City, to rent a car, to drive 2 hours to Omaha, to go to the game on Saturday, to watch LSU lose 24-4. And I don't know if he stayed for the game on Monday. Okay, now let's talk to Taylor. How are you, dude?
Good. I just got kicked off, man. I don't know what happened.
No, it's all good. So you left Baton Rouge 2 a.m. on Saturday. You fly to Kansas City, drive to Omaha. You go to the game. LSU loses 24-4. Did you stay for Monday?
Huh?
Did you stay for Monday?
I I hate having. I've had this conversation 15 times in the last 3 days. No, I did not.
Oh no! Wait. I'm sorry. So you left Saturday or Sunday?
No. So I left Sunday morning at 2:00 in the morning.
So the only game you saw was 24-4.
Matt, we were exhausted and we got absolutely drugged, and we're like, let's just go home.
Idiot!
Yeah, idiot. I was so stupid watching that game on Monday. Just lost face. It was awful. It was a great experience, though. We had a good time, but, I mean, it was...
we watched LSU win the national championship, beating Florida 18-4, and it was awful. That's what you just said.
No, it was not awful. I mean, I followed this baseball team closer than I've followed baseball in a long time, so it was not awful. It was great, but just from my perspective, it was kind of terrible. But I was extremely tired, so I was happy I was sitting on my couch.
You can ask Taylor anything. Normally, I would say you'd ask about booze, but in this instance, my guess is people are going to ask about that. That is one of the more incredible stories. I know a lot of people. Like Hunt Palmer went up for the championship series, and I'm glad he did, and he stayed, and he got to watch LSU win a title. To have gone up on Sunday thinking you're going to see a title, and instead seeing 24-4, turning around, coming back home, only to miss the coronation.
Dude, I felt like I was living in a dream watching that baseball game on Sunday. Like it was, I was so tired. Like, it was sitting around a bunch of Florida fans acting like they won the national championship that day. That's what made it great for me.
Did you make your way to Rocco's and buy some Jell-O shots?
We walked into Rocco's and yes, bought a Jell-O shot. Yes.
Got it. What was that experience like for a guy that lives around the booze world to see so much attention paid to Jell-O shots?
It's for a great cause. They made a lot of Jell-O shots. That's the most, because I've made Jell-O shots in mass, and that's impressive. How many Jell-O? I know they have a machine that does it. It's still impressive.
That is pretty cool. All right, let's talk some booze. Let's get to some questions. Anything new?
We got a little restock of a few of the different Fortaleza tequila. Sorry, and Fortaleza has been hard to get. I'm sure there's people listening that know that. So we did get a little bit of Fortaleza this week, and we're getting Parish Brewing Okra tomorrow. I think it's a double IPA.
Oh.
It's a collaboration with Other Half Brewing from New York. The beer nerds will know what that is. But, we should be getting that tomorrow afternoon.
Okra, like the vegetable okra?
It's called Okra. You just got to go look it up on their Instagram and check it out.
Okay.
It gives a full explanation of the beer.
Okay, but that's what you were saying was okra, like
Okra.
Yes.
A-K-R-A-A.
Okay.
O-K-R-A. Oh, my God, yeah.
You can't spell okra. You started it with an A.
O-K-R-A.
Are you still drunk?
Word to spell. No, I'm not, but that's a weird word to spell, man.
O-K-R-A. It's 4 letters. It's not that weird. Okra.
You don't spell it that often.
My wife loves fried okra, so I actually am quite familiar with it.
That's great.
Okay, let's go to questions. Jay Butcher said, question for Taylor. I ran across Bardstown Rye in a store. Have you had it? If so, what's your opinion?
Bardstown Rye. Yes. That completely stumped me. Yes, everything I've had from Bardstown is fantastic across the board, yes. So, yes, pick one up if you see it. And they're kind of hard to get to.
Brian O.C. said, I'm going from Baton Rouge to New Orleans tomorrow for a business meeting. What's a good spot to bourbon hunt?
In New Orleans, man, I don't bourbon hunt New Orleans. If you want a great sandwich and a cool craft beer, go to Stein's Deli.
Let's see. A couple of more here. We'll get your questions in. I know we're short on time because we spent a lot of time just talking about your adventures in Omaha. Robbie White said, ask Taylor, is straight from the bottle considered the proper vessel to consume Van Winkle 12-year Lot B?
Yeah, I saw you doing that on Monday night. I saw you do it, and I have done it myself, so I can't judge. Yes, absolutely.
I am not in any way concerned with anyone's judgment. I had about 6 ounces left of a Van Winkle Lot B. LSU won the national championship. I had a Glencairn. I had a cigar. I was going to pour it while I did my live stream, and I said, you know what? To hell with this. I am just going to sit here, and I'm going to drink this straight out of the bottle. And so I did, and I make no apologies for it to anyone.
I wouldn't apologize either. That's fantastic. I love that. It is great, too. It's a really good bourbon if you can find it.
It's magnificent. Jeff Babin, what's a good old-fashioned mix?
Try the cocktail experiment. Josh Duke from Oliver Twist started the company. One of his former employees owns it now, but they make them all in Baton Rouge, and they got a good old-fashioned mix.
Very cool. Last one from Greg Lehman. Asked Taylor, how many watts could you hold for an hour on your Peloton?
He's asked me that before, but I would say like 250.
No, I didn't ask you on air. He sent it last week or a couple of weeks ago, and I was like,
I would say like about 250 to 300, and I'd probably kill myself, but I'd give it a go.
All right, dude, we got to go. See you. Thanks.
Bye.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Wherever you are in South Louisiana, you got a Shawbills near you. So maybe you took your vehicle up to Omaha, you traversed home, and you realize, I just put like 2,000 miles on my car in a 24-hour period. Well, bring it to Shawbills. If you need new tires, bring it to Shawbills. If you're heading to the beach before you do, bring it to Shawbills. New tires, tire rotations, oil change. If you need that service, Shawbills has got you covered. There's Baton Rouge locations, Burbank, Coursey, Airline Highway. There's Booty, Denham Springs, Gonzales. I'm telling you, wherever you are in South Louisiana, the Houma area. They started Morgan City. Ambassador Caffrey for our Lafayette audience. And as well, there's a couple of Lafayette locations. Learn more at ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills for more than 50 years. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This week, a handful of NFL players, including Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, expected to receive season-long suspensions for violating the league's policy on gambling, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Don't expect the Lakers to make any significant changes this NBA offseason. Even with all the activity that's happened with other teams in the West, GM Rob Pelinka's focus instead, keeping LA's core intact. There's also the matter of Anthony Davis, eligible for an extension August 4th, 3 years, $167 million. Only one option for the Lakers with AD, believes ESPN's Tim Legler.
They don't have much of a choice because the one thing about Anthony Davis, his peak is best player on the floor that night. Yeah. That is his peak. There aren't a lot of guys in the league that can say that. Anthony Davis can, and he can even string those games together. It's then all of a sudden after a couple, that 8-point game, that head scratcher where you can't figure it out. He doesn't look as interested.
ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting Bulls finalizing a 3-year, $60 million extension with center Nikola Vucevic.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Milazzo. Nope. Alundra. Villarreal. My bad. Do you know how just ingrained, like it's just muscle memory? I'm looking at you, and I still said Muso.
Yeah, we're hard to.
No,
we're
you're
hard
not.
To tell apart.
No, not at all. Not see. You are a female. He is a male. You're both relatively the same age, but he is very short. You are not.
That's true.
He kind of sounds like a frog. You do not. There's not many similarities between the two of you.
I do feel really big next to him.
Well, you're not very big, but
he's small.
He is. Yes, I don't mean to be insulting because I think some people might take offense to that. But
oh no, I didn't.
Muso's just a short guy. He is. He's short. He's short. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Muso is. He's a pocket person. What? I mean, kind of is. Anyway, all right. If you missed Alex Milazzo last hour, he was awesome. Check it out. We'll get it on demand. AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org. We'll have a full interview up on our station Facebook page as well, so make sure you check that out. Of course, over the last 2 days, we've been just Monday and Tuesday was nothing but baseball. It was getting ready for the national championship game and then celebrating the national championship game, recapping, all that sort of stuff. So we do kind of get a little bit back more on track today. Wednesday, there was a really good interview. Saints tight end Juwan Johnson gave an interview on Sirius XM NFL radio. And he made a couple of really interesting comments. One was comparing Derek Carr and Drew Brees and their in how they've sort of led the team so far.
It honestly felt like we've been working with Derek for quite a while now, and so OTAs was really good, really smooth, and he's giving me more of a feel because he's an older guy. He's giving me a lot of Drew, going into the huddle, commending the huddle, the guys gravitating to him. These are things I've seen how Drew conducted the huddle, how Drew conducted the offense, and things like that. So it's giving me similar feels. And so I'm really excited about what Derek has and how he's going to move this offense.
The most interesting part of that is my initial default is to say, Well, look, that sounds right because Derek Carr is a 9-year NFL veteran and Drew Brees played for 20 years. So it's natural that a guy who's had that much experience would command the huddle. And then I think, well, who was commanding the huddle last year? And I go, oh, it was Andy Dalton, a guy that's been in the league for more than a decade now. So I don't know that Juwan Johnson meant that as a knock to Andy Dalton. It's also worth mentioning that in Juwan Johnson's time in New Orleans, he's also seen Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, and last year Jameis Winston as well for a small portion of the season before his injury. But primarily a year ago, it was Andy Dalton. Again, I don't know that that was necessarily a knock on Andy Dalton, but more of a compliment to Derek Carr to say there are guys that are veterans that maybe don't have that command, that presence. We've all, I don't care what level of sport you played. If you played any level of sport, we're all familiar with those types of people who, when they talk, everyone shuts up. You listen. And it helps when that player, you talk to people on the 2011 LSU football team, that player was Tyrann Mathieu. Everyone got in line. And that was a very young team, if you remember. That team was largely loaded up with sophomores, guys that returned in 2012. But Tyrann was a sophomore, and when he spoke, everybody listened. So it's not always a quarterback, but it helps when it's the guy at the most important position on the field. The other thing that Juwan Johnson said was not only just about presence and moxie and aura and command, but it was also about the offense on the field.
Yeah. I feel like with Derek, there's a lot of things that you can do. He's been in an offense where, he's had Josh McDaniels, John Gruden, so he has a lot of that he can bring over to, our offense. Obviously, we have a lot of pieces on our offense, which I think he's probably never had before. And so I feel like that's something that he could use a little bit. And so a big credit to Pete. I mean, Pete's been working his tail off this offseason. We got some stuff in there. I'm like, Pete, I've never seen this before, but I like it. And so I'm really excited for Pete going into year 2. He's been behind Sean for so long, and so he's learned a lot, and now he's ready to blow up now.
Okay, so 2 things there. Number 1, Pete, of course, is Pete Carmichael. And that's pretty interesting because I think there is absolutely some validity to the idea that a year ago, Pete Carmichael, first time not with Sean Payton, bounty year notwithstanding. Of course, Sean Payton was out and Pete Carmichael called the plays. But other years when Pete Carmichael called plays, he was standing next to Sean Payton. He was in meeting rooms with Sean Payton. They were working the offense together. And there is some validity to the idea, I believe, that last year Pete Carmichael just kept doing what they were doing and had been doing in tandem without saying, let me do my thing. And maybe now with a full year off to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to evaluate. Now, this is my playbook. It's not mine and Sean's playbook. It's not Sean's playbook with my opinions. It's mine. I got a defensive-minded head coach who said, here is your blank canvas. Go make beautiful art. And you hear Juwan Johnson say it. I'm like, dang, Pete, I didn't know you had all this. That's encouraging. I am curious to see what that looks like. That doesn't, because I think so often, and I'm guilty of this as well. I look at the Saints draft Kendre Miller and I go, oh, well, they're just trying to get the next Alvin Kamara because they're going to throw the ball, and we know what they like to throw the ball to the backs out of the backfield and all. And I'm like, do they? Is that what Pete Carmichael wants to do, or is that what was that Sean Payton's thing? I don't know. Maybe we start to see what Pete Carmichael's offense looks like this year instead of Sean and Pete this year. That, to me, is fascinating. Now, the other thing that Juwan Johnson said in that cut that I fundamentally disagree with is when he said, and I quote, we have a lot of pieces on our offense that he can bring over to offense. I'm sorry, here it is. We have a lot of pieces on our offense, which I think he's probably never had before. Okay. Now that I fundamentally disagree with. Last year in Las Vegas, the Raiders brought Derek Carr's college teammate and best friend, who at the time was catching passes from Aaron Rodgers and was pretty widely assumed to be the best or top 2-3 wide receivers in the NFL, in Davante Adams. There is no receiver on the New Orleans Saints team that rivals Davante Adams. When Michael Thomas was at his peak, we could have that conversation. You cannot have that conversation today. Respect to Chris Olave, 1,000-yard season as a rookie. He is not Devontae Adams at his peak. Not yet. Maybe one day. We'll see how it all transpires. But it wasn't just Devontae Adams. They had Josh Jacobs, first-round pick. They had Darren Waller, freak show tight end. They had Foster Moreau, who's now in New Orleans as well. They had Hunter Renfrow as well, who the Saints looked at trying to bring in. So please don't tell me that Derek Carr didn't have pieces with the Raiders that he has now. That, I can't buy that at all. And honestly, while Derek Carr threw for 3,800 yards last year, and look, he didn't start the last 2 games of the season. They benched him. Because he had so many weapons offensively is part of the reason that I've been given pause, and probably a big part of the reason why the Raiders said, you know what? We have all of this for you. We got you Devontae Adams. We had Darren Waller. We got Josh Jacobs, a first-round running. We gave you all these pieces, and we still stink. Now, maybe that's Josh McDaniels. Maybe that's what happened with Gruden being out. I don't know. I don't cover the Raiders. I don't know their culture. I'm not there every day. But just looking and saying you got more pieces now that he never had before is baloney. Now, I do believe one thing that's really been really cool. Back to the first part about what Juwan Johnson said. Can you play that again, Alondra, please? The first one about comparing him to Drew Brees. I don't know that I need the whole thing. Just play it again, please.
It honestly felt like we've been working with Derek for quite a while now. And so OTAs was really good, really smooth. And you know, he's giving me more of a feel because he's an older guy. He's giving me a lot of Drew, you know, going into the huddle, commending the huddle, the guys gravitating to him.
Okay, that's enough. So you get the gist of it. We have heard that from all of the Saints that have been asked about Derek Carr. We have heard Tyrann Mathieu rave about him. We have heard Cam Jordan rave about him. That has been a consensus from all of the veteran players that have talked about Derek Carr. He's commanding the team. It's his team. He's the captain. He owns the locker room. They like he has assimilated perfectly, and that is great news. If you're Saints fan, that is the best news. The worst thing that could happen is new guy comes in and everybody hates him. New guy comes in, immediately gets the C on his jersey, and nobody likes him and nobody respects him. Like, that's a worst case scenario. Clearly, that has not happened. That's great. Also, guys like him enough to follow him. Brian Edwards, Raider receiver, he's now Saints receiver, Brian Edwards, free agent. Foster Moreau, Raider tight end, is now Saints tight end, Foster Moreau. We talked about Lynn Bowden. Lynn Bowden from Kentucky was a Raider draft pick. Now, the Raiders traded him before he ever played for him, but who do you think had Lynn Bowden come work out? Billy Price, the center they just signed after the tryout in minicamp. Spent 2022 with the Raiders as a lineman protecting Derek Carr. So a lot of dudes that have played with him have followed him here to New Orleans because they like him. So that is a very, very, very good thing. My one lingering question is still, okay, he's got a lot of weapons. Pete Carmichael's designing a great offense. The players love him. He's got command of it, all that sort of stuff. Has he hit his ceiling as a quarterback in the NFL? That is my one big remaining lingering question for Derek Carr. Has he peaked? Have we seen peak Derek Carr? Maybe, and I've shared this with you before, because I think there is a very legitimate reason to say that he is Andy Dalton. They're through 9 years, team that drafted him, they put up very similar numbers. Through 9 years, Carr 3,500 yards, Dalton 3,400 yards. By the way, Dalton had missed 11 games, Carr missed 4. So Dalton with 7 more games than Carr. Carr with 7 more games than Dalton, excuse me. So Carr played 7 more games, so the stats are a little bit higher. Almost identical number of yards. Carr, 217 touchdowns, Dalton 204. Interceptions, Carr 99, Dalton 118. So through 9 seasons, stats are almost identical. And that's the time where their teams that drafted him said, bye-bye. And we saw what happened with Dalton. He went to Chicago, went to Dallas, New Orleans, Carolina, 4 years, 4 different teams, because he was done. The team that drafted him knew he was done. I think Derek Carr has to prove that he's not done. Can he play? Sure. Can he play at a high level? High-ish. How high? Championship level high? That's where my skepticism comes into play. But as far as a guy that's ready to lead, command. The guys clearly love him. I love that Pete Carmichael is doing creative things in the offense. I love that they have pieces there, but he had pieces with the Raiders as well, and they couldn't win. How high is Derek Carr's ceiling? I don't know the answer to that, but it's going to be fascinating to find out, because the answer to that question will determine how legitimate of an NFC contender the Saints are in what feels like a wide open NFC after the Eagles. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. LSU, about 45 minutes from right now, we're going to talk some LSU football. Tigers lost a couple of commitments. We'll circle back to that. When we come back, though, we're going to take a look at SEC strength of schedule rankings, a new ranking metric out about strength of schedules for the SEC coming up in 2023. I want to talk about that. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Oh, by the way, Rouse's has your baseball national championship T-shirts. You can get by so many of the area stores. As a matter of fact, they're listed on their Facebook. My goodness. If you're in the Bayou area, the North Shore, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, they have all the stores listed on their Facebook page where you can get the LSU National Championship baseball apparel at Rouse's. So you can get by any of those Rouse's locations. Of course, more than 60 Rouse's locations in all. Rouse's.com. You can get to the website at Rouse's.com. Y'all, the 4th of July is upon us this weekend. I cannot encourage you any more to go by Rouse's for the 4th of July and make sure you get everything you need to celebrate and celebrate safely with your family and have a great time this 4th of July. Rouse's has it all for you. Go to Rouse's.com or visit your nearest Rouse's. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. Where personalities clash and chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious.
Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
LSU has finished 9th in the Directors' Cup standings. For those that aren't familiar, the Directors' Cup is the award that's given away when you total up all the points in the metrics for all of the seasons, all of the teams at the end of a sports calendar. So LSU, so you get 100 points if you win a national championship, and then how you finish, so on and so forth, it decreases. So 100 points in baseball, 100 points in women's basketball, 80 in gymnastics and men's track and field. So anyway, LSU finished 9th in the Directors' Cup standings, so that's pretty good. I don't think that anybody ever really pays attention to the Directors' Cup or cares. I just kind of thought I'd pass it along to you. So yay for being good in all of the sports. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. And I know I'm going to keep mentioning a big week, not only for LSU baseball winning the national championship, big week for us here on After Further Reviews. We did welcome our friends at Delta Media in Southwest Louisiana. So we're continuously growing and looking for partners and affiliates to continue to broaden out our reach. And so to all those who have been listening or watching on other platforms in Southwest Louisiana, thank you so much. For all those just finding us now, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. We're thrilled to be in Southwest Louisiana, so no matter where you are on the I-10 corridor, you can hear AFR now. From 100.3 ESPN in New Orleans down in the Bayou region up to New Orleans, 104.5, 104.9 in Baton Rouge, 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles. Set a button wherever you are on I-10 in Louisiana and along that corridor. You can now listen to AFR, and we love our folks up in Cenla as well with Cenla Broadcasting in Alexandria. We're so grateful to be on Alexandria's 93.7 ESPN. So thanks to all of our affiliates, man. It's great to everybody who watches or listens wherever you are. We're just so grateful for all the opportunities. Thanks for being here every single day. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We will be, we are 19 days away from SEC Football Media Days. 19 days. In 19 days, we will be in Nashville at SEC Football Media Days, getting set for the 2023 LSU and college football season. LSU goes day one again this year. And going into media days, I always know, abbreviate, like every year there are talking points that you're going to be asked about every team. So, like, keeping in mind, most of the time, people who cover this league have a surface level knowledge of every team and deep knowledge of the team they cover. So, like, LSU will take their turn at media days on Monday, the July 17th, and on that day, T-Bob and Jake and I will all do like 30 interviews, because on the day that it's the team you cover's day, like, you end up doing interviews on all these different radio stations and TV stations or whatever. And it's interesting because you end up getting asked the same question like 30 times. Because you're essentially doing the same interview in like 30 different markets or whatever it may be, because everyone's asking their surface level questions of the team you cover. And a year ago, it was so obvious. It was, does Brian Kelly fit in? That was like the number one question literally everybody asked. Like, why does this make sense? Is Brian Kelly good for this job at LSU? And it was year one expectations. When Vegas had LSU projected as like a 7-win team, everyone was asking, like, is LSU going to win 5 games, 6 games this year? So we knew that was going to be the question. This year, it's going to be very obvious. It's going to be, is LSU ready to take the next step? And they won the West a year ago. Can they defend the West, but can they win the national title? And then number 2, it's going to be, can Garrett Nussmeier challenge Jaden Daniels for the starting job? Those are the 2 questions we're going to get asked. So much of that, of course, though, depends on your schedule. I say this all the time, every year in every sport. It's not just who you play, but when and where you play them that matters so much. So a lot of times when you look at a win total projection for a team in a season, it's not just who they have, who they lost, returning production, who their coach is. All that matters, but who do you play? So consider this. CBS Sports just put out their strength of schedule rankings, looking at the SEC for this year. And, man, I'm going to tell you what, for Billy Napier and the Gators, after a really rocky year one, he is staring down the barrel year two. CBS Sports has Florida as the toughest schedule in the SEC for this year. And for Billy Napier and the Gators, that is I mean, that's why they're projected to be a 500 football team this year. What's so interesting to me for Lane Kiffin this year, and they've got Ole Miss number 2 on the strength of schedule rankings, by the way. Remember we talked about Ole Miss last year, and it was at SEC Media. I'll remember it. Y'all know because we referenced it a million times. My buddy Richard Cross from Sports Talk Mississippi came on AFR, and he said, look at the schedule. And we sat there, I opened it up, and we went through it, and I'm like, they're going to start 8-0. They're going to start, or they'll come to Baton Rouge 7-0 and have a chance to beat LSU to go to 8-0. And sure enough, Ole Miss was undefeated when they came to Baton Rouge because the schedule was so light early and it was backloaded, and we saw what happened. They fell apart late. Now, Ole Miss has to go to Tulane. They're playing that game in New Orleans, by the way. They got to go to Auburn. They got to play the Egg Bowl. And they draw Georgia from the East, and, of course, have to play Alabama. Brutal schedule for Ole Miss. Like, I don't know how Lane Kiffin makes any type of a push forward. Third is South Carolina in the team rankings, the strength of schedule rankings, followed by Alabama, then Auburn. You notice in a trend here, lot of SEC West opponents, teams on the strength of schedule rankings. After Auburn, Tennessee, then Missouri, and then LSU. Y'all, for whatever it's worth, LSU, while we look at LSU having to play Alabama every year, but you don't draw Georgia, this is the year. This is the year for LSU. You open with a massive game against Florida State. We all know that. And I've said it before. If LSU wants to win the national championship, they got to win week 1. Because I don't think you can get to the playoff if you don't win week 1. Because we have never seen a 2-loss team make the college football playoff. If LSU loses week 1, they have no margin for error. You have got to win out to be an 11-1 team to get into the playoff. So you have no margin for error. Win week 1, and I think LSU's got a great shot of being in the playoff. You got Grambling, Georgia State, Army as your other non-conference games. Army's tricky, I get it, because they run the triple option, and you're going to see that coming up at the end of October. But we've talked. You get Florida, Auburn, and A&M all at home. Florida and Auburn are going to be super questionable this year. A&M, what really do we expect there? Yes, you have to go to Alabama, but your rotating cross-division we know is Missouri and Columbia. You catch some breaks on this schedule. Your road conference games with the Mississippi schools, you catch some breaks on this schedule if you're LSU. That's another reason to think, yeah, you should think very highly of the Tigers. Just to finish it out, the rest of the top 10, ranking the SEC schedules, Kentucky 8, Arkansas 9. LSU 8. Kentucky 9, Arkansas 10, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and Georgia. So Georgia having the weakest schedule is why you see everybody taking their Sharpie and just putting Georgia in the college football playoff, because who's going to beat them? They got the weakest schedule in the SEC this year. The SEC East stinks, and they draw Ole Miss as their rotating cross-divisional, and then they got to play Auburn, who's first-year head coach, and they're not even playing that game late in the season. They're playing it early in the season, so who knows how good Hugh Freeze's team is going to be at that point. So, yes, Georgia is going to walk into Atlanta as the SEC East champion. Who are they going to meet there is the big question, and LSU's strength of schedule, being what it is this year, is certainly lighter than it was a season ago, and that's a big boost for Brian Kelly in this quest to do what we've seen Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson each do now in year 2, and that's lead their team to a national championship. All right, it's after further review. We're going to do overrated, underrated coming up here in just a quick minute. Love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. With 30 locations across 11 different states, you know where to find Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Something else I want to stress to you with Michelli. Of course, so much about this is making you more efficient. For something like a calibration that should take 7 to 10 days, there are some companies that'll take 8 to 10 weeks. What if your backup device goes down while that device is being sent off and calibrated? You don't have time for that. Michelli can help. Their managers, their vendors can come to your place of business, get those devices, bring it back to the lab, calibrate, and return it to you within a week. It's all about, don't pack something up, box it, ship it to Chicago, wait for it to be calibrated, then ship back to you. Do business with a local company that's been around for 75 years. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Okay, y'all. I'm excited about this. We'll talk some LSU football in about 30 minutes. Tigers lost a couple of commitments in the defensive backfield. I want to talk about how that's going to shape up. And then in 45 minutes from right now, we are going to take a deeper look at how LSU baseball starts to rebuild their roster for 2024. That's coming up. We'll do overrated, underrated when we return here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers.
AFR.
New Orleans Flooring, that's the place to be. Tell you every day, buy where the pros buy. Great time if you're looking to maybe do some updates to your home, to that flooring. New Orleans Flooring can save you 40, 50% off of the best flooring prices and products that exist. The same flooring that you'd get anywhere else because they cut out freight. They cut out the middleman at New Orleans Flooring. You realize sometimes that flooring product that you buy will pass through 4 different hands before it gets to you? Well, the problem there is every time it passes to someone else, the cost to you goes up with all those different vendors. So do what the installers do, what the home builders do, what the remodelers do, what the home investors do, flippers, property managers, remediation companies. Buy where the pros buy. That's at New Orleans Flooring. They got it in stock today, and they can install tomorrow. Metairie and Airline Highway in Prairieville. Go see Big Sean. Go see Terrell. Go see my friends at New Orleans Flooring. NOLAFlooring.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good
After further review with Matt Moscona, Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
It is worth noting that this is a Wednesday, and even though Muso is out, it's Plucker's Trivia night. So in 1 hour, we will do Plucker's Trivia. Alondra, I assume you will be up for taking the trivia questions?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Okay, let me check real quick, because I believe we do have a category tonight.
I don't know how good I'll be at it, but...
You can't be worse than Muso.
Okay.
Maybe you can.
I mean, never say never.
It is 90s video game trivia.
I might struggle with that one. I might do some research in the breaks.
Nope.
No research?
Nope.
Dang.
You know what?
I was literally born in 98, so disadvantage right there.
Yeah. I was not born in 98.
I'll try my best.
I would struggle with these. I would, yes. But we'll give it a go. If you're a video game nerd, especially a video game nerd from the 90s, you may love getting by Pluckers tonight. Spin that prize wheel. Everybody wins a prize on the prize wheel. Pluckers gift cards, Amazon gift cards. Even if you don't win a round, but if you win a round, you get to spin the prize wheel and win something really cool. Pluckers. Okay, let's do overrated, underrated. Fire away. Go ahead. Hit it. Yeah, there it is. All right, let's go. Neato gang. Let's do
Overrated or underrated?
I personally think he's criminally underrated.
Okay, first one for you. Overrated or underrated?
Mm-hmm.
Teslas.
You can try the like. Tesla. You go louder. Yep, louder. There we go.
All right.
Tesla's underrated. Many people know that, of course, we talk about ProCharge here. It's an electric vehicle charging station, so full disclosure. However, I believe Tesla will corner and claim the autonomous vehicle market. If I fast forward 10 years from now, I believe the majority of the vehicles on the road will be autonomous vehicles. And that's not to say that everyone will be super cool and comfortable just letting a car drive them places. But I know people that do that now. They will get in their car at the beach and will just set home location, take a nap, and let the car drive home. As wild as that is, it's happening now already and has been for years. The hardest part is going to be people like us who have driven our whole lives having the comfort to just let go and let the vehicle do it. But you will have a younger generation who is not going to have that issue. Like, they're going to grow up with it in the same way that if you grew up with smartphones and the internet, there is no adjustment. If you grew up with social media. That's why kids are generally better at it than adults and older people who have had to adjust. It is their native language. So this is a long way of answering your question. Even still at its current valuation, Tesla is underrated because over the next 10 years, you are going to see Tesla become what Amazon and Google have been to and Apple to the last 15 and 20 years.
Okay, this one might be a little controversial. The Jell-O shot challenge. Overrated or underrated?
The Jell-O shot challenge is horribly overrated. And I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody, and I get that people enjoy it, but number one, Jell-O shots stink. Nobody wants to do a Jell-O shot, right? Can we all agree?
No, I agree 100%.
It's one of the worst ways to
Way too much work.
Too much work. How do you get out of the cup? Are you really getting a lot of sugar? Nobody wants a Jell-O shot. It's not the best way to consume alcohol, number one. And hat tip to Rocco's for doing something that has created virality around something so stupid, but people care. But yes, Jell-O shot challenge is horrifically overrated. But people are watching it as they go to the College World Series and around it. And when you're LSU and you buy 68,000 Jell-O shots, that is impressive. It's impressive, but it also means nothing. So therefore, it is overrated.
Okay, Disney vacations, like going to Disney World, Disneyland.
Overrated. Too expensive to do too much work. I will say this about Disney. There's a book I would encourage anybody to read, especially if you own a business. It's called Be Our Guest. And Darren James, shout out, is the one who put me onto this. It's all about the Disney experience. How if you're a park worker, you need to make sure everyone has the best time of their life. So if you see a kid drop their ice cream cone, you go get them a new one and you replace it immediately because you want them to have the most incredible experience. So it's not a knock on Disney in that respect, but everything's expensive. You wait in long lines. You walk all over the place. It is very hot and taxing. Kids they'll cry and melt. And there are very good things about Disney. I don't like any of them. Again, full disclosure. But Disney is an overrated vacation. You know what I've heard? Disney Cruise. You get all of the Disney vibe, but you're not at a park where you're walking forever and a day. You get characters and shows and plays and fun and food and all the stuff at Disney, but it's all on a ship.
All right, celebrity. I was going to put tequilas, but I'll expand it to celebrity alcohols. Like Casamigos.
Yes, also overrated.
Yeah.
Most of it is, especially when it comes to whiskeys, but it's sourced and it's just someone slapping their name on it to give it brand appeal, which good for them. As an entrepreneur, from an entrepreneurial perspective, fantastic for them. As far as the quality of the product itself, overrated.
Okay, last one. Nickelback.
Underrated.
I agree.
Underrated. Here's the thing about Nickelback, and a lot of people may not go listen to Nickelback's first album. Bangers. They were great. And they sold out. But I'm not mad at them for selling out. I don't like when people crush a band for selling out. The objective is to make music and make money. They made great music. They became very famous. And they got so famous that they made a song about selling out. This song's called Rockstar.
Yeah.
It's a song about they made a song about selling out.
And it's a great song.
No, it's not. It's terrible. All of their pop rock stuff is very bad. It's bad. But I don't blame them for that. And the fact that they have two different iterations. The original, go listen to the Nickelback song Leader of Men if you've never heard it. Go listen to the song Leader of Men and tell me that is not a certified banger of a rock song. Most of you have probably never heard it. Amazing song. How You Remind Me was an amazing rock song. But they got super popular, went mainstream, sold out, made a lot of money. Great. They had the best of both worlds. They got to do the album they wanted to do their whole life. It was awesome. And then they got to go make $1 bajillion just churning out crappy music that they played on top 40 stations for a decade and will still play forever. So congrats. Nickelback, underrated. They got the best of both worlds.
All right, that was overrated, underrated.
This is After Further Review, and we are thrilled to have you here with us. By the way, again, shout out Traction Sports, TractionSports.com. Traction summer baseball camps all throughout the summer. Remember, our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, Trey Beal, has a Traction baseball camp gift card that he's given away. We'll give it away when Terrio's here on Friday. Just text the word #Traction to the text line on the show. 396-4400, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Even if you don't win that gift card, just go to TractionSports.com. You can register your son for summer baseball, ages 5 and up, every week throughout the summer. No camp next week for the 4th of July, but it'll pick up the following week. Every week throughout the summer, Traction summer baseball camps. And the other thing I got to remind you as well, even if you're not an athlete or your son or daughter isn't, remember Traction also has Traction Elite Physical Therapy. So if you're a runner, a swimmer, maybe you're an ancient athlete, you like to go play pickup basketball games on the weekend, you get injured, knee problems, shoulder, you need to rehab, you choose your physical therapy clinic. And Traction PT is the best. The same physical therapy clinic where pro athletes go to rehab their injuries, you can use that clinic as well as Traction Physical Therapy. Traction PT and Traction Sports. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, it's After Further Review. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, jump in the Buy Ford YouTube chat, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways, as always, that you can get into the show. The LSU Baseball Championship celebration is coming up at 7:30, so we're about 3 hours and 45 minutes away from the championship celebration out at the box. Should be a great night. They're going to unveil the new Intimidator. Might have gotten a sneak peek of it already. Looks like I think you would imagine it would look, but it's still pretty cool to have another number up there. So we'll get a look at that tonight, and excited to continue the victory lap on this LSU Baseball National Championship. We'll knock out a break. We'll wrap up hour number 2. We'll do Tigers and the Pros. Alondra will have that for us when we come back. And in 15 minutes, LSU football, while we were previewing, discussing, basking in the afterglow of LSU baseball's national championship. LSU lost a couple of defensive back commitments for the class of 2024. I want to talk about that and look at that secondary and how it's sort of making it's shaping up for this year and for next. So we'll do that in about 15 minutes from right now here on AFR.
AFR.
Massive shout out to Britt over at River City's 1 Hour Air. Yesterday, while I was on air, Erica texted me, and I said Britton. Britton Holden is his name. Shout out to Britton. I said Britt, but it's Britton Holden. Erica texted me. AC was out at the house. It happens. She texted me when I was on air. Within 2 hours of her texting me, Britton was at our house getting our AC back up and running while I was here on air. When I got off air, he was still there. Worked at our house almost 8 o'clock last night. Found some things that we didn't even know were a problem. I always tell you about the preseason AC tune-up. So we had our preseason AC tune-up scheduled for Friday. So we got to do it preemptively by about 3 days. But anyway, found some things that we didn't even know were a problem. It would have been huge, costly problems in the future. River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time, where you don't pay a dime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like Vans customized.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We are so glad to have you aboard with us here, driving you home on this hump day. We wrap up every hour number 2 here on AFR by doing Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Kevin Gausman pitched in the Blue Jays game versus the Giants last night. Gausman pitched 6 innings and had 12 strikeouts on the night. Gave up 1 walk, 3 hits, and 1 run. So great outing from Gausman, but unfortunately, Blue Jays lost, so he gets the L there.
Fortunately, the Blue Jays lost.
Yeah.
As a Yankee fan, I need to pull everybody down into my misery.
Alex Bregman went 1 for 4 in the Astros lost to the Cardinals yesterday, had 1 hit on the night. Cardinals win that game 4-2. Jake Fraley went 0 for 3, but the Reds got the win. Josh Smith, rough night for some Tigers. Josh Smith also went 0-4, but he went 0-2 with 1 strikeout. Rangers smacked Detroit, though, 8-3 in that game. DJ LeMahieu went 0-4 last night as well with 1 walk. Yankees lose to the A's.
He didn't go to Catholic High, by the way.
Just wanted to say it.
Well, I yell it whenever Musso says DJ LeMahieu. He also plays Go DJ, by the way.
Yes, I completely forgot
No,
about
that's
that.
okay. No worries. Alondra's in for Musso this week. But anyway, and then Musso's always like, nope, no, he didn't. He's from Michigan.
Oh.
DJ's from Michigan.
He's from Michigan?
DJ is from Michigan. However, he went to a brothers school. Catholic is a Brothers at Sacred Heart school.
Yeah.
DJ went to some brothers school in Michigan. So I was like, see, we're basically the same.
Catholic adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Musso tries to say, no, that's not how that really goes. But whatever.
Well, that was Tigers in the pros.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge and really all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 30 years. You can always go to the website at LMFJ.com. That's LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. By the way, engagement rings, great selection, and custom engagement rings are available. So if you don't see exactly what you're looking for at Lee Michaels, they can help you build that ring of your choice, that dream ring. You can find it at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. One other quick note. We had kind of been keeping an eye on the possibility of the Saints on Hard Knocks. And apparently that is not going to happen. Mike Florio over at Pro Football Talk reporting that it looks like the Jets anticipate being forced to host the Hard Knocks documentary this summer. If you're not familiar with Hard Knocks, it's been around for a long time now, but Hard Knocks follows an NFL team through training camp and the preseason, all the roster cuts. And teams generally don't like to do Hard Knocks. It's widely viewed as a distraction. Now, I don't believe that to be true. The criteria by which the NFL would use to force a team to host Hard Knocks, you cannot have a first-year head coach, playoff appearances within the last 2 years, or featured on Hard Knocks for the last decade. Then the NFL can force you to do it. So as long as you don't have a first-year head coach, Saints have Dennis Allen second year. If you haven't made the playoffs in the last 2 years, Saints have not. And if you haven't been on Hard Knocks for the last decade, Saints have not, they can force you to do the show. So the teams that fit that criteria this year are the Saints, the Bears, the Commanders, and the Jets. Any of those 4 could be forced to do Hard Knocks. And it looks like, according to Florio, the NFL is going to force the Jets to do it. And that makes a lot of sense. It's the number 1 media market in the world in the Jets. And, of course, the Jets just signed Aaron Rodgers, which makes them a fascinating story to follow this offseason. I will tell you, for me personally, and I don't know how you feel about it, that's a bummer for me. I would love to see the Saints on Hard Knocks for a lot of different reasons. And I think this year they would be fascinating. Number one of the cool things about Hard Knocks is when guys get days off, whatever, they go around town, the city that they're in, whatever. It would be really cool to see New Orleans featured on that. I always think that's cool when your state and your city's featured. I think we all know what a star Cameron Jordan is, and how he will be a television star when his NFL career is done as an analyst or whatever he wants to do. This would put him on that platform nationally while he's still playing. It would allow all of us to get to know Derek Carr better because that's going to be just a big part of this offseason for New Orleans. His new quarterback would be great to see Derek Carr and chronicle his first training camp as the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. And then selfishly, for me, I want the content. Like as a radio host, you're going to give me every week throughout training camp, I get Saints on Hard Knocks. I would love that. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be the Jets, according to Florio. And I do understand it. If you're in the NFL, you get to put a New York market team on Hard Knocks. I totally understand why they would do it. But I would love it if the Saints were on Hard Knocks. But alas, we shall wait even further. All right, y'all. It's After Further Review. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. We're putting a button here on hour number 2. We're going to go to SportsCenter, get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, LSU lost a couple of commitments. We'll talk about it next here on AFR.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds and remind you about our friends over at Mold Zero USA. Mold-0USA.com. If you have mold, if you have odors, if you need remediation work done, or think you might, call Mold Zero. One of the things that's kind of scary about having mold in your home, obviously it's dangerous. We all know that. But how you fix it and get rid of mold is also, do you have to cut sheetrock? You pulling insulation out of the wall, pulling carpet out of your house? Did you really get rid of it? Learn more about their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Go to mold-0USA.com. If you forget the website, just text me or email me or tweet me or something. I'll always shoot you the link. But you can learn more about it. You can read more about it. You can watch videos about their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's literally safe. You don't have to remove anything from your home. They'll spray. You let the fog dwell. As soon as it dissipates, you're back in. It's Mold Zero USA. Mold-0USA.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A threat from Mets owner Steve Cohen to his underperforming team. There could be a sell-off at the trade deadline. He said he's preparing his management team for all possibilities, but if the Mets don't get into playoff contention, they have decisions to make. He also said manager Buck Showalter, GM Billy Epler will keep their jobs no matter what through the end of the season. The Mets 16 out in the NL East, 8.5 out last NL wild card. Start of NBA free agency, just 2 days away. Lakers' plans addressed by GM Rob Pelinka. They're going to try their hardest to keep their core together as well as improve around the edges. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
You have LeBron James there. I know he's aging, but you still have Anthony Davis that is in his prime. You don't break up that core group that made a great run the second part of the season to get into the postseason, to get to the Western Conference Finals, and break it up and say, I'm going to go get another superstar, and all of a sudden you rebuild it.
The Bulls and center Nikola Vucevic finalizing a 3-year, $60 million contract extension, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Calandro Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Yep.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Turn it up, Alondra.
Hump day.
Give me the humpty bump.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Celebrate the Natty Day.
It's hump day.
2.5 hours from right now.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Unveiling the new Intimidator.
Hump day.
LSU football lost a couple commits.
It's hump day.
Who cares?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Gonna win without you.
Hump day.
That's how that goes.
It's hump day.
Crying in your Cheerios.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Do people still eat Cheerios?
Hump day.
I think so.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Alex Milazzo is here in hour 1.
It's hump day.
Juwan Johnson was lauding Derek Carr in hour 2.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Rebuilding the LSU baseball roster.
Hump day.
It's coming up in 15 minutes.
It's hump day.
All right, let's get cranking here. We're glad you're with us. Feeling good. Vibes all around. LSU baseball is taking their victory lap. The national championship celebration tonight out at Alec Box Stadium. A lot of you are going to be there. T-Bob and I will be over at Oliver Twist for Scone and Tea. 7 o'clock sharp. We'll start the show. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, come hang out with me and T-Bob over at Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge, 7 to 8 p.m. If you can't be with us, watch us on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube stream. Okay. We, of course, spent the majority of the last 48 hours talking about previewing and celebrating LSU's national championship. A while that was going on, however, LSU football lost a couple of commitments, both of them in the secondary, for the class of 2024. First up was Zion Ferguson. Ferguson, depending on which scouting service you subscribe to, either a 3 or a 4-star cornerback. He's out of Georgia. Had been committed to LSU since last September. So for almost a year, he's been committed to LSU. 6 foot, 165-pounder. He's number 327 overall in the On3 industry rankings. He's the 37th best cornerback in the country. So he was part of this really big recruiting class in the secondary that we've been talking about for a good while now with LSU as they were looking to rebuild it. So Ferguson not only decommitted from LSU, but he has now committed to North Carolina. So he made that public on all of his social media. So he's a kid from Georgia who decommits from LSU and is now committed to North Carolina. So Zion Ferguson out. Sometimes sometimes you know the story without being told the story, if that makes sense. I'll give you an example like Tavion Galloway. And I don't want to be the guy that's like anytime a player decommits from the school that you cheer for or cover. Like, well, they told him to leave. Well, like sometimes players get processed. I mean that there's not saying a player was processed is about the nicest way to say something like that. But a lot of times this happens in recruiting. Sometimes a team takes a commitment from a player and they commit early, and then you go through another football season, another high school season, and then you reevaluate, or guys come to camp and you get to see them against other elite players, and then it kind of becomes what it is. So, I don't know if that's exactly what happened here with Zion Ferguson, but it kind of feels like it. As LSU's continued to stockpile numbers in the defensive backfield for the 2024 class, I don't think it's a giant coincidence that you had two of the guys who had been committed for a while decommit. So Zion Ferguson's a 4-star. On3 and 247 have him as a 3-star. ESPN and Rivals have him as a 4-star. He is committed now to North Carolina. He's ranked as we mentioned the number 327 overall prospect and the 37th best cornerback. So Zion Ferguson decommits from LSU. And I mentioned the tight end spot. So like this is very similar where you got a guy who committed early, who's not super highly ranked, and then you've got recent defensive back commitments. Of course, Andre Evans committed to LSU a couple of weeks ago. And sometimes you just have the conversation like maybe it's time to look elsewhere. So I would much rather a coach tell a recruit, hey, go look elsewhere now instead of waiting till signing day and then maybe some classes are full and you don't have as many options. So I'd rather that process happen now than in December. I think this happened with Tavion Galloway, the tight end, who had been committed to LSU for a year now. Well, LSU go and they take a commitment from Trey'Dez Green, and they got a JUCO commitment from Connor Gilbreth, who's eligible now for 2023. So all of a sudden, LSU's tight end class and their numbers are really big, and you look and you go, hey kid, like maybe it's a good thing. Like if you want to look around, that might be a good thing. So I think that's kind of part of what happened here. Zion Ferguson's the cornerback, and the other is Maurice Williams out of the Houston area at Shadow Creek. Shadow Creek is actually in Pearland. I know that because I know some folks that live in Shadow Creek, which is a beautiful development. They have a Shadow Creek High School in there, beautiful homes. It's a great little spot in Pearland. But anyway, Maurice Williams announced on his social media that he had two decommitted from LSU. And what we learned a short time after that is that he flipped to the University of Houston. So a guy from the Houston area is staying home, and he's going to go play for Houston. He announced that he was committed on his social media a short time after decommitting from LSU. So there's a lot of reasons why that may make sense. And look, honestly, he did pass on some other big offers. Not only is LSU, who he had been committed to, but Auburn had offered, Arkansas had offered, Arizona State had offered. So, look, Tillman Fertitta's got a boatload of cash, and he's a University of Houston alum and has given a lot of money to that university and those athletic departments. And maybe it was something where they were able to make it make sense for Maurice Williams to stay home there at Houston and play for the Cougars. So, if you're just looking at the profile for Maurice Williams, we'll run through that real quickly, and I'll give you some more perspective on how the LSU secondary is shaping up. But he is a consensus 4-star, which, again, is why this one's a little more odd. On 3, 247, ESPN Rivals. They all have him as a 4-star. He's ranked as the number 118 overall prospect in the country and the 6th best safety. So while I think it's safe to say that Zion Ferguson might have kind of been processed, I'm not so sure that's exactly what happened with Maurice Williams. That's probably one you would have liked to have held on to. Now, even still, I can look at LSU's roster for next year in the secondary and kind of see how this is shaping up a little bit. At safety, you're probably going to have a big need. And remember, LSU did get a commitment from Joel Evans a week ago. But at safety next year, look, Andre Sam is the graduate that you just added, right? From who we know his stories. Played at McNeese, went to Marshall, just committed to transfer to Tulane before ever playing at Tulane. Now he's transferring to LSU. But he's in his last year of eligibility. So Andre Sam, we'll see what you get out of Sam this year, but this is his only year of eligibility. Greg Brooks is done after this year as well. Major Burns could very well choose after this season to go pro. And then you look at the rest of the safety room, you got a lot of numbers there of guys that haven't played a ton. Matthew Langlois is a redshirt sophomore, third year. He's battled injuries. Sage Ryan, same thing, a redshirt sophomore. What does this year look like for him? Jordan Allen's a redshirt freshman. You brought in Ryan Yates and Kylan Jackson, who were freshmen this year. So with a lot of numbers at safety, do some of those guys transfer out? So I guess you could look at that safety room and go, you got a lot of numbers there. You know you're going to lose Sam and Brooks, maybe Burns, and you might have transfers as well. Cornerback, though, is one of those positions where, man, you look around at cornerback, and that LSU room looks pretty set up for not only this year, but for next year as well. I look at the cornerback room, and you have no seniors in your cornerback room, by the way. There are no seniors. You got 2 juniors in Deuce Chestnut and Zy Alexander. So both could return for 2024 as well. Chestnut's the Syracuse transfer, and Alexander's the transfer who's the FCS All-American at Southeastern. Both of those guys could come back for senior years. Your sophomores are Denver Harris, J.K. Johnson, and LaTerrence Welch. All of those guys are back in 2024. So conceivably, your top 5 corners, that doesn't even count Javian Toviano, who they're very high on. As a corner, safety, nickel, could play any of those spots. So really, your top 6 guys will all still have eligibility after this season, and only Chestnut and Alexander are draft eligible after this season. So you're going to be really loaded up at cornerback. And then on top of that, when you look at the commitments in this class, in particular in the secondary, the second highest ranked commitment you have is Deshaun McBride, the safety out of Denham Springs. So you're good at bringing in one of your top safety, one of the top guys in your class is a safety in Deshaun McBride. We mentioned Andre Evans as well. Please take this ball. You mentioned Andre Evans as well, who is the 4th highest rated prospect in this class, and he's a cornerback. Juwan Johnson, a Louisiana kid from Lafayette Christian who had been committed to Colorado, you got flipped as well. So you run through this. Joel Rogers, the safety who I just mentioned, and you have one more cornerback in this class, in Wallace Foster out of Warren Easton in New Orleans. So you're loaded up with really good safety prospects. You have all of your cornerbacks coming back, and you already have a heavy load in this class. So I can understand why these guys decided, I'm going to look elsewhere, because the room is pretty full over there. So a couple of guys decommitted from LSU while we were in the midst of all of the baseball conversation, and Zion Ferguson and Maurice Williams. But LSU still looks really good at both of those spots for 2023, 2024, and beyond. Okay, it's after further review. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers, and we're glad to have you aboard with us here. We're going to knock out a quick break. We'll do some Pluckers trivia bottom of this hour. When we come back, as we kind of start counting you down to the championship celebration for LSU baseball, which is coming up in a couple hours, the big giant question is, how do they rebuild the roster? And I have some thoughts, including what they've already gotten out of the portal and what they might be looking at. We'll get to that when we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. The Watermark, Baton Rouge's original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge. The Watermark Hotel was originally the Louisiana National Bank building, and it is so gorgeous the way the Watermark has maintained so much of the history of that building. You walk in and it feels like you're walking into a time capsule that's been modernized. There's so much beautiful marble and a lot of the art that's original to the building. You'll recognize it as soon as you walk in. Some of their meeting rooms were old bank vaults that they've converted into meeting rooms and dining rooms. It's so cool. Like, it's worth it just to walk through the hotel. That's how fine it is. The hotel bar there in the lobby of the Watermark is an amazing place if you're in downtown to grab a cocktail or some appetizers. And, of course, the Gregory is fine dining at the Watermark Hotel. It's the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling. And this is
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, we'll talk about rebuilding the LSU baseball roster in a second. Alondra, is this just a complete defensive Nickelback? Is that what this is right now?
It is. This is a great song, and people need to appreciate it now.
This is a great song.
This is a great one.
It is. I mean, this is the song that exploded them to mega stardom from their debut album, which was fantastic. Everyone's heard How You Remind Me. By the way, I mentioned, so if you're not here, when we did Overrated, Underrated last hour, Alondra included, Alondra's in for Musso, by the way, who's at the beach. Alondra asked Nickelback, overrated, underrated, and I told you I thought Nickelback is underrated. A lot of people hate on Nickelback, and I'll just give you a very abbreviated Cliff's Notes for those that missed it earlier. Their debut album was fantastic. It was a truly great rock album, and I even said, go listen to a song called Leader of Men. For those who've never heard it, it's a certified banger of a rock song. It wasn't Anthony, excuse me, it was Where is it? Here it is. Anthony Fontenot said, I just listened to Leader of Men for the first time. Freaking amazing. Had only heard their pop rock stuff before. So I'm saying their original stuff was great. And then they sold out, which I'm not mad at them for selling out. They made a lot of money. They got to make the album they always wanted to make. It became very famous. They made a lot of money, and they sold out and made even more money, so good for them. But yes, the original Nickelback stuff was great. The pop stuff was awful, and I don't blame anybody for hating it. It was pop rock. It was terrible, but they got to make the album they wanted, and then after that, they signed a big record deal, made a ton of money, so good for them. And then Anthony Fontenot said, can I call you later? No. No, you cannot. But you can text me on that text line whenever you want, and I'll reply. I do my best to reply. I get a lot of messages on there, but I do my best to reply whenever I can. But I'm literally walking out of the show today and going to record LSU Daily for tomorrow, and then driving over to Oliver Twist. I will call my wife en route there, and then I will do Scone and Tea from 7 till 8, at which time I will then go home and put my son to bed, do some more work, and then I will be up here tomorrow recording podcasts with our friends at Brock starting at 7 a.m. So not that everybody needed to know my schedule, but no, Anthony, you cannot call me tonight. But I'm sure you're a lovely person. Okay. Oh, and Paul, that's our poll question of the day as well. Did you? Yes? Would someone please talk here and say?
Yeah, that's the poll question of the day. Is Nickelback overrated or underrated?
Okay, so go to Twitter, at 1045 ESPN, and vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day. I know with LSU winning the national championship, the question turns to becoming, how do you do it again? And Jay Johnson was asked, can you play this one, Alondra? This is number 10. Jay Johnson was asked, where does he go from here after losing all of these core players on this championship team?
You can't be here anymore without future Major League players on your roster. It's not happening. I mean, I don't know a ton about Oral Roberts because they were on the other side of the bracket. I'm sure there's a couple big leaguers on that team. And then you have to have old players that really know what they're doing. I think I'm excited about the young players that got exposed to this. And, hey, man, Jared Jones, like, he's a big reason we're here. You know, that's a borderline freshman All-American. You know, Paxton Kling's a superstar, I mean, in the making, you know. Thatcher Hurd, I mean, every guy that pitched tonight might be back next year. The Wake game, I mean, all those guys might be back next year. And so, and we got some work to do. And you know, hopefully the time lost, you know, on the road, I mean, that's about as good as endorsement as you can come up with of what took place over here the last 2 weeks.
The time lost on the road. It's a lot of people have drawn the comparison with Jay Johnson and Nick Saban, and I've done it plenty as well. And I'm not saying that he's going to go on to be the greatest college baseball coach ever like Nick is the greatest college football coach ever. But there are those similarities where when Nick Saban, and you've all heard him say in the past, in years where Nick Saban's won the national championship, he's kind of been pissed off because of the delay in the recruiting calendar and what having to go play for and win a national championship has done in setting him behind the 8 ball in recruiting. And at some point, it might be tomorrow or Friday, we'll have Jay on the show, and I'll look forward to it. And the first question I'm going to ask him is what he did immediately after LSU won the national championship and he went back to his hotel room, because he told us the story last year and mentioned it a lot of different places that when they got eliminated by Southern Miss in Hattiesburg last year, he went back to his room and he just started working on 2023. And he opened up his computer and looked at the transfer portal, and Paul Skeens had gone into the portal that day. And so he immediately reached out to Paul Skeens from his hotel room in Hattiesburg after LSU season ended. So I will be fascinated to know what Jay Johnson did in his hotel room in Omaha after the season ended. Was he right back there like, now I got to replace Paul Skeens. Now I got to replace Dylan Cruz. Now I got to replace Ty Floyd. Maybe. And I know that a lot of you, a lot of us all have been looking at the transfer portal. And we already know that LSU's gotten Michael Braswell out of the portal, who's an infielder from South Carolina. They got the lefty arm, Justin Lohr from Xavier, who very well could be a weekend rotation piece next year. Might be a bullpen piece. I know everyone is asking about Chase Burns from Tennessee. And, you know, I don't know that I can tell you with any definitive certainty what Chase Burns is going to do. But what I will tell you is that last Saturday, when the rumors started about Chase Burns potentially being in the portal, I did make some phone calls, and it was expressed to me then that, for those who don't know, Chase Burns is a pitcher at Tennessee who's been in their rotation. He finished this season in the bullpen, throws 102. He's a great arm talent. And it was essentially made known to me that LSU was well aware that Burns was entering the portal, and sometimes guys are even in the portal before it may show up listed publicly if they've already filed the paperwork before it shows, so they could have already had contact. And there was a really good feeling like LSU is going to get Chase Burns. Now, I'll say that with the caveat that until someone is enrolled, you never know what's going to happen. Like, Tennessee could always re-recruit him and find a way to keep him there, and I don't know what's going to happen there. But Burns was kind of demoted to the bullpen after struggling in the rotation. He did really good out of the bullpen. Now, Vitello did a radio interview today on the Sports Animal up there in Knoxville and said, quote, "It's pretty straightforward. We've kind of known that he would be gone for a while." So it doesn't sound like Burns is coming back to Knoxville, but they could always try to re-recruit him. Now, I know there's been talk about TCU and wherever it may be, and I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's on to that kid. I'm not trying to break any news here because I don't know. I've never talked to Chase Burns. I'm just telling you that LSU isn't like sleeping on that because they were in Omaha. They've known this was a possibility of Burns going into the portal, and they're on it, is I guess what I would be comfortable saying. And then the other portal addition that LSU got, well, there's two interesting portal arms from Alabama. And we know what happened in Alabama this year. Their head coach got fired for betting against his team. But their ace Luke Holman's in the portal, and LSU's already got a commitment from Cade Woods. Cade Woods, if you're not familiar, is a kid from Monroe, and he is a legit arm talent. Cade Woods, the story there is he was going to be a draft guy as a high school player. He was going to go from high school and sign a pro contract, and he blew out. Had Tommy John, ended up going to school, and he ends up going to Tuscaloosa. Well, he gets healthy and was awesome this year for them in the bullpen. As a matter of fact, in one game that he pitched against Florida, he struck out the final 7 batters of the game. Yeah, the Florida team that just was in the National Championship Series. Cade Woods struck out the final 7 batters he faced to close out a game against the Gators this year. So that is a really, really good arm talent from Louisiana who they've got coming back home now to play for LSU. When I look at the rest of the roster, and I was asked this question earlier today, what's the biggest thing that LSU is going to have to replace? Well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, I don't even need to say it. It's starting pitching. You're going to lose Skeens and Floyd. Now, Thatcher Hurd is going to be back, and you would have to think would be the odds-on favorite to be your Friday night guy next year as it stands right now. You never know what may happen in the portal and what may happen as well with the draft and who could return. But it's your rotation. Remember, a year ago, this team hit plenty. You had plenty of talent. I mean, you had Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan and Jordan Thompson and Gavin Dugas. You had a lot of the same guys that are on this team on the team a year ago. You had Jacob Berry on that team a year ago, who became the 5th pick in the draft. You had plenty of offense on that team. You had no pitching. And Jay knew it. And I thought he and Jason Kelly a year ago did a marvelous job of maximizing what they had. I mean, they had Mikhail Hilliard as a Friday night guy, and that's no disrespect to Mikhail. Jay's even said it. Thank God for Mikhail Hilliard, a guy who had been here for 5 years, who had been through the SEC wars, who could snap off that 12-6 breaking ball and get guys out in this league. If you didn't have Mikhail Hilliard, my goodness, what would you have been? You had nice pieces at the back end with Razelman and Gervais, and Riley Cooper pitched really well last year coming over from Arizona, but you didn't have a rotation. And they had to fix it, and they did. Ty Floyd's development this year was awesome. Obviously, you brought in Skeens, you brought in Hurd. But you look ahead to next year, and you go, okay, well, how is this going to rectify? Getting Hurd back is massive because he could be your ready-made Friday guy. The biggest one you're going to have to watch is Grant Taylor. Because Grant Taylor, I'm going to say this again, and I know this is hard for people to accept or believe to be true, but in the fall, Grant Taylor was as good or better than Paul Skeens. Again, I know that sounds silly because of what we just watched, but you got to remember, when Paul Skeens got here in the fall, he wasn't Paul Skeens yet. He was a guy throwing 95 to 97 who had been at Air Force, who was a two-way guy, who wasn't getting all the recovery and the pitching lab and everything. And then Paul Skeens took advantage of all of that and became Paul Skeens. Grant Taylor was going to be your number 2 guy in this rotation behind Paul Skeens. And he had Tommy John and didn't pitch this year. He's a draft-eligible sophomore, and I think he's the biggest decision that we have to see made. Does Grant Taylor sign a pro contract? Conversation I had with a scout this weekend was Taylor could either sign for probably $800,000, around there, $750,000, $800,000 this year and go pro. Or he could come back to LSU for his junior season, rehab, come back, try to maybe have a dominant season this year, and if he does, potentially make $2 million as a first rounder. That's the decision Grant Taylor's got to make. And that's going to be massive for LSU, because if Taylor comes back and is a part of a rotation that includes Thatcher Hurd, and he can revert to the form that he had before his injury, that's a massive piece. Because now you've got 2/3 of your weekend rotation done already. And maybe Justin Lohr, the Xavier transfer, is another guy in it. Maybe Javen Coleman comes back. He's a redshirt sophomore, so Coleman's draft eligible. See what happens with Chase Shores. There's other guys that were freshmen this year that you didn't see play that maybe take that step. Maybe it's Aiden Moffitt. Maybe it's Jaden Newt. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of bodies. But you're going to have a great team in the field. You're going to hit again. There's a lot of talk about Hayden Travinsky coming back. We had Alex Milazzo with us in hour number 1, and he talked about he hasn't made a decision yet. But, just when you look at, what you're going to have that you're going to have back. Brady Neal's back behind the plate, who was your starter this year as a freshman. You could have Bear Jones at first. Gavin Guidry could play the middle infield for you. Michael Braswell could play the middle infield for you. Tommy White's back at third. Paxton Kling's going to be in center. Pearson's going to be at one of your corner outfield spots. You got a lot already there. There's a lot done with your 1 through 9 already. Maybe even more so than what you had at the start of this season. Keep in mind, I know it's been talked about a little bit, but there were 6 guys in your opening day lineup that didn't start in the national championship game. LSU's opening day lineup, Paxton Kling was in right field, Milazzo was catching, Joe Bear was in left, Dylan was in center, Tommy White was at third, Trey Morgan was playing first, Jared Jones DH, and who started at second? Gavin Dugas started at second. Gavin Dugas started at second, excuse me. So my point is, it's 6 guys in your opening day lineup that weren't starting the national championship game. You're going to have more spots settled day 1 of next season than you did this year. The big question is going to be your pitching. We'll see what happens with Grant Taylor. Thatcher Hurd's a great place to start. But you're going to have to go rebuild that pitching staff, either with the freshmen that didn't pitch this year or through the transfer portal again. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll do some Pluckers trivia when we come back, as we do every Wednesday. And then we'll get to Otter Locks to wrap up the show in about 15 minutes from right now. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on AFR.
AFR.
I think we might be close to selling out all of the mosquito barriers over at Clegg's Nursery. Clegg's is not a mosquito repellent store, but they're the largest nursery and garden center in Louisiana. They've got full greenhouses. They've got great flowers. You want to add some color for the 4th of July. It's 4th of July weekend coming up. You want to redo those flower beds, those patio pots, some red, white, and blue flowers. They got you there as well over at Clegg's Nursery. Maybe you're having people over and you want to spruce up the outdoor space with some bird feeders or some wind chimes. They got all of that. And because they're partnered with the True Value Hardware, anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. But remember, they also have the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. And that's what I think is getting a lot of people in the door over at Clegg's. And then you're looking around and seeing all the other cool stuff they got. But $24.99, $24.99. You can be done with mosquitoes for 90 days at a time. They got it at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way.
I'm through with standing in line, the clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be. Tell me what you want.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Sing it, Chad Kroger. By the way, another banger, Chad Kroger, Josie Scott, the song they did for the Spider-Man movie back in 2002. Remember that?
I think I do remember
That's
it.
a good song.
He has a song with Santana. That's
Hero.
good.
And they'll say that a hero can save me. Not gonna stand
yeah.
here and wait. Yeah. Anyway. All right. It is Wednesday. Alondra Villarreal is in for our producer, Matthew Musso, who's hanging out at the beach. And he'll be back next week. But usually here on Wednesdays, we do a little Pluckers trivia because Wednesday is trivia night over at Pluckers. And Pluckers being our title sponsor. Our buddy Stevie Levy, the King of the Wing, always sends us questions, some sampling of questions. And so we usually quiz Musso. But today we'll quiz Alondra. So hit my music there, Alondra. Trivia music. All right. You know, oddly, there's been a lot of celebrity family feud on lately. I guess that's a summertime thing. I know that because when I get home, My son Drew loves Wheel of Fortune. It's basically octogenarians and my special needs 9-year-old that love Wheel of Fortune. Pat Sajak's retiring. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Ryan Seacrest is replacing him.
Is that a for real thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
That was our trending story this morning.
Seacrest, huh?
Ryan Seacrest.
Why would Seacrest leave live with Kelly and Ryan to go? I guess is he leaving for Wheel of Fortune, or was just leaving and looking for the next opportunity?
I don't know the details. He's Ryan Seacrest. I mean, he does everything.
Yeah.
Like literally everything.
Let's take that down just a little bit if we could.
Gotcha.
A little bit. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Here we go, Alondra. Today's a little louder. Little louder. Just a smidge. Okay. That's perfect, by the way.
Okay.
90s video game trivia. How you feeling?
I feel great.
How are you feeling about 90s video game trivia?
Awesome. Confident. Hit me.
If I hooked you up to a lie detector, would the needles be jumping right now?
They would
Yes.
100% be jumping.
Okay, here we go. Alondra, the villainous president Rufus leads Shinra Inc. in what video game released in 1997?
That last name sounds, or the second name that you said, it gives me like Mortal Kombat vibes for some reason. And I'm really just throwing out a random video game if I'm being honest.
Okay. It is not Mortal Kombat. Sorry. You have to give yourself the buzzer.
Okay.
Yeah, hit the buzzer.
Yeah.
Yep. Hit it.
I don't know where it's at. If I'm being honest. There we go. Found it.
Now there is like a ding 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 on there as well. If you get you knew where that was.
Yeah, right next to the wrong one.
Well, I have a feeling you're probably going to need to make use of the wrong one more
Probably so.
Okay, let's go number 2.
All right.
In October of what year?
Gosh.
I want to remind you, this is 90s video game trivia.
Yes.
So you've got like, yes?
What was the answer to the first one?
Oh, Final Fantasy, the 7th. Final Fantasy 7. My apologies. Thank you. Final Fantasy 7 was the answer. So you've got basically a 1 through 9 chance here, right? I mean, it's pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
No.
In October of what year was Grand Theft Auto released for Game Boy Color?
Grand Theft Auto, I'm going to guess late 90s, 97.
No. It was 1999.
I was close.
You were close. When you said late 90s, I got a little excited for you. I thought maybe you might get it. Okay, one more for you, Alondra, here.
Redemption.
No, that's not going to happen. Fill in the blank with word missing from the title of this racing game first published by Sega in 1994. Sega blank Championship.
Racing.
Sega blank Championship.
You said it's a racing game?
Yes.
Motor. Motor racing.
No.
I don't know.
No, that's not right.
Yeah, well.
It's a Paulie, do you know it?
I got no idea.
Sega Rally Championship is what we were going for there. So, if you can do better than Alondra, and
Probably can do better than me. I got them all wrong.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just got a text from Michael Cobble. That's Plucker's Trivia, by the way. I just got a text from Michael Cobble that said, Kelly's leaving. And I'm like, my brain immediately, when I see Kelly's leaving, when Michael Cobble texts me, Cobble from WBRC Channel 2, I'm going, wait, what? Because I'm thinking, who would I be thinking? If
Brian Kelly?
Would be Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly's leaving, I think. The show's ending. Kelly Ripa is who he's talking about.
Oh.
From Live with
Ryan and Kelly.
Yeah, okay.
I thought her husband was doing it with her.
Don't know, don't care.
Okay, yeah, true.
Anyway, Cobble, don't do that again, please. Oh, my God. Like, I literally just had, like, a heart palpitation. Like, I literally thought Cobble was just texting me that Brian Kelly was leaving. That's what I thought he was. Not about live with Kelly and whoever Kelly's with right now. Who's he with? Who's she with?
I think her husband.
What's his name?
Mike Consuelos.
Awesome.
Maybe.
Good for them. I hope they nail it. Knock it out of the park. Good job. Go get it, Crazy Lovebirds. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Relief Windows. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding, Relief Windows, ReliefWindows.com. You know who wouldn't do that to me? Brandon Holly wouldn't do that to me. He wouldn't make my heart palpitate like that. Because Brandon's an honest, great dude. One of my favorite people in the history of the world. Seriously, I love Brandon Holly. He's an amazing guy. Few more authentic people that you'd ever want to meet in your life. Great dude, and you understand why their business runs the way it does when you know Brandon, because when you want to talk about ethics and doing things the right way and treating people right, that's why they measure twice to install once. That's why they never take $1 from you until the work's done and you're thrilled with it. They take all the risk up front. He just believes in treating people the right way. It's Relief Windows. If you want windows, doors, or siding, beautiful products, great craftsmanship, awesome customer service experience, and a lifetime warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. That's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. What a day it has been. If you missed anything, you always catch AFR on demand. Presented by Breck Golf. You can book your tee time at golf.breck.org. Alex Milazzo was here in hour number 1. If you missed that, great conversation with the Tiger catcher, who did give us some good news. The broken leg, broken shin, not going to need surgery, which is fantastic. Hasn't made a decision yet on his future, if he's returning or if he's going, but had a great conversation, some great perspective on this team. We appreciate Alex for being with us. We talked some Saints, Juwan Johnson, some really interesting things to say about Derek Carr. We got to that in hour number 2, and earlier this hour we talked about the decommitments in the secondary for LSU in the class of 2024. So if you missed any of that, you can always check it out. AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. All right, y'all, let me knock out our final break of the show. When we come back, I'm excited about it. The Otter will be here for a little Otter Locks, and we'll set the stage for LSU's championship celebration coming up here in a couple of hours out at the box. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. Gordon was in studio with us yesterday talking about the Jell-O shots, the rally shots, and, of course, because that's what he would do, he puts up billboards all over town with 8,888 reasons to rally. Of course, Gordon bought 8,888 rally shots after LSU lost to Florida on Sunday. Tried to get the good vibes going again, and my goodness, did it work. So the 8's significant because if you want to call Gordon, it's 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Or you can always go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Check out the billboards. They're all over town with the 8's all over them. But you know Gordon. He's a great Tiger fan who's been so supportive of LSU's NIL and all of the Tigers' NIL, all the schools throughout the state with NIL by creating the G team and so many other great charitable endeavors as well. Tell you every day, you've been injured, you need an attorney, you know what to do. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With Personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Oddfather himself, Jimmy Odd. Otter, how are you?
Doing great, Matthew. How about you?
Very well. Winning night last night. Otter gave us the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. They were winners. Loss on the Brewers, but a 2-1 night. As I say every time, Otter, I'll always take a winning night. So thank you for that.
There we go. Any day. Yes, indeed.
I'll take it every day. Now the 0 for 3 on Monday. I don't want so much of that. So give me more winners.
We were 1 and 2 on Monday. Yeah. All right, let's get to it as you do the accounting. All right, 3-team parlay, paying plus 273 at DraftKings. Dunning versus Wentz, Texas. All these are money lines. Texas, Baltimore. That's a fade. Give me the Reds are hot, but I mean Weaver is just a gas can. We've got to fade him, so. We're going against that. And Blake Snell is the hottest pitcher maybe in baseball. He and the young kid for the Marlins. But 6 starts, and he started out awful. And he's done this before where about the middle part of the season, he gets going. 6 starts. He's only given up a total of 2 earned runs in his last 6 starts against that Pirates lineup. That's just overmatched. So that one, 3-teamer, Rangers, O's, Padres, plus 73 at DraftKings.
All right.
And tonight, speaking of gas cans, Zach Davies, he brought his to the mound in San Francisco and just torched it up. Poor people in the stands eating their garlic fries. We're getting a little aggravated with the
those garlic fries are so good, man.
Are they good? They are really good. Tampa Bay, we know they can score minus 1.5. We're flipping on this one. We had the D-backs last night, but Davies and that's the thing, Matt. I mean, he might bring it out there again tonight. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was just rocket after rocket. So Tampa Bay, Eflin, solid for them. We know they can hit minus the 1.5.
Okay.
But even money plus 105.
I'm looking at plus 110 on DraftKings.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bet it all.
Yeah.
Bet double. Go ahead.
Okay. By the way, I'm looking at my bets from the other night, from Monday night. We had, let's see, I'll tell you what I had, and you tell me if I screwed it up. We had the Nationals. We got to split the Nationals bet, but we lost on the money line. We lost on the money line, the run line, and then we lost with the Twins.
The Twins, and who was our winner?
Oh, we had the Brewers. Okay, so we had the Brewers.
Yes, Brewers came back plus $1.
1 minute remaining.
So we lost, 0 for 3, lose a half a unit. Who's keeping score? I mean,
hey, bro, I'm just here. Look, I'm just here to make the bets, man. I don't make the rules. I'm just here to make the bets.
We're a little sidetracked. We're about to, whoop that Gator butt, but I understand. But it was 3 dogs, and came back plus 150.
Hey, man.
But that's okay.
I'm here for it, Otter. Thank you. All right, live at lunch with Ott and Hanny tomorrow, Thursday. Where are you?
Jolly Pearl, downtown. We're pretty shucking good.
Glad Hanny made it home.
He's about half of him. We're trying to get him back to 100%. So he's back, baby.
All right, Otter. Have a great night. Thanks, man. All right, that is Jimmy Ott. Alondra Paula, we appreciate it. Love telling you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. Remember, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. That'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. Have a great night.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.